Welcome back to my channel, my beautiful do or diers. Did I just make that up? Maybe. If this is your first time here, I welcome you. This is a wonderful DIY channel where I teach you all kinds of things like tool knowledge, drywall repair, pretty much anything you can do around your home to upgrade it and do it yourself. If this is your first time here, I please ask that you guys subscribe to my channel. Make sure you're hitting the bell notification so that you can be updated anytime I post new content. If you guys are not here for the first time, then you already know if Danny did it, you can do it too. In today's video, I am bringing you guys part 2 to how to paint your cabinets, okay? It is a very cost-effective way to bring some life back into your kitchen without spending thousands of dollars on a remodel, okay? So again, a few months ago, I posted the very first piece of this content where I tell you all the things you need to know before deciding to paint your cabinet. So in today's video, I'm bringing you again part 2 to that. This is going to be how you prep your surfaces, your base of your cabinets, and your cabinet doors and drawers to get ready for paint. This is going to be a talk through video, so please make sure you are watching until the end so that you don't miss any of the great content that I put together for you guys. It does stop a little short there at the end, but again, that's why it's important that you watch fully from the beginning until the end. Everything that you do on the base of the cabinets is going to be the same thing that you do to the cabinet doors and the drawers right before you get ready to paint, okay? Let me just stop talking. Let's just get right into the video. Jumping right in here, guys, you're going to use your DeWalt power tool or whatever power tool you have to disconnect the 2 screws from the hinges on each of the cabinet doors. You'll also be removing the pull-out drawers as well. I'm going to apologize in advance because I did not show you guys me painting the primer on the doors and the drawers, but it's going to be the same process as painting on the base of the cabinets. Something else to mention, please go ahead and remove all of the items from the cabinets. I did not do that here, and we're not even going to talk about why I didn't, but make sure that you're doing that just to ensure that nothing gets dusty once you move forward with the process. I would recommend using like a Ziploc baggie to hold the screws and just sit it inside one of the cabinets so you don't lose it. Next up, you're going to use some green painter's tape. I find that the green painter's tape is a little bit better than the blue one, and prevents a little bit more of the bleed through. So you just want to tape over all of the surfaces that you don't obviously want to get paint on. I'm not moving out the refrigerator right now, so I put a piece of tape there on the side of the door, on top of the hood as well. Just again, any space that you're not going to be wanting to have paint on while you put the primer down. I'm going to be using Pro Block from Sherwin-Williams, and I'll drop a photo right here for you. It is a great bonding primer. They also have Extreme Bond in cases where your cabinets were previously stained or over shellacked. You can go ahead and put that primer down and use that as a good base primer before you paint the cabinets. Our next step is to use some TSP degreaser and heavy duty cleaner. So you want to start with a bucket with some water as hot as you can take it, and you'll go ahead and just dump in some TSP. I don't really follow the instructions. I just kind of eye it and see how much I need. I'm going to use a paint stirrer just to mix that product up really, really well. It's pretty granulated, so you'll see inside the bucket mixture after a few minutes of stirring, it's going to be ready. I use 2 separate rags for this situation. One to go ahead and get the the grease and the gook off the cabinets first, and then using a dry rag, I'm going right behind that and just drying it up a bit, just so I don't have the water sitting on the cabinet door faces while I continue on with that process. So again, you see me doing that here, just one rag to clean and another rag to come behind and dry. I followed this process throughout the top portion of the cabinets as well as the bottom, making sure that you're cleaning all of the greasy areas on the faces, every surface that you're going to be painting with the primer. And this is an essential step. Anytime that you're painting anything, you want to use that TSP. If you want to go green, they have a less chemical process. It's called like a TSP substitute. So you can look for that if you don't want to use the trisodium phosphate. Once you're satisfied with that and you know that your surface is dry, I'm just using a rag here to be in preparation for my sanding portion. I'm using a 60 grit sheet of sanding paper here. Now, if you have already removed all of the items from the cabinets, I do recommend using either an orbital sander here, or you can actually use, your 1/4-inch palm sander. So again, with all of the items in the cabinets removed, using an electric sander here will make this process a little bit easier. Of course, the small, hard to reach places, you can just use your hand with a sheet of sanding paper, and just like before, after sanding, I'm going right behind it with my rag to clean down all of those portions. And you're going to repeat the process for the top portion of the cabinets as well as the bottom. So you're going to be sanding it down, wiping it down, and getting ready for paint. I'm using a 2-inch angled putty brush here to start priming the face of the cabinets. You'll do that to paint on the small surfaces that you can't reach with your 2-inch roller that I'm going to be using in just a moment. So you'll just continue along the edge of all of the cabinet space, making sure to cover all of the face of the surface of the cabinets before, like I said, moving on and using the chubby roller for the thicker portions. It is important to go ahead and prime each space very nicely before going on to the painting round. I allowed 30 minutes for the first coat to dry. You'll see a little bit of bleed through. And then I went ahead and painted a second coat of the primer before moving on to the next step. So just make sure you've got a beautiful full coverage of that primer and allowing it to dry at least 12 hours before moving on to your paint. If you haven't done so already, please make sure you're hitting the subscription button as well as the bell notification so that you can be notified each and every time I post new content here on this beautiful DIY channel. Next, it's time to go ahead and prep those cabinet doors. I'm going to be using that drill again to remove the actual hinges, and you'll see that I'm using that little cup just to keep all of the screws together. And I put the hinges in a separate space because I did go ahead and clean them with a little bit of vinegar and water just to get all of that gook up. So you're going to repeat that process and then move right on to cleaning just as you did the base of the cabinets. Using my TSP mixture, I'm cleaning all of the face of the cabinets on the front and the back. I did find that using the rag was not getting a lot of the gook off, so I moved on to a still wool in 000, which is very fine. And it has nothing on it, so I'm just dipping it right into my TSP solution and scrubbing vigorously to get all of the gook off before I move on to sanding. Once you're satisfied that the cabinets are clean, you put them off to the side to completely dry. You'll see some cabinets may have some stickers from old inspection. This one is from 81, but you can go ahead and sand that right off using that electric sander, and again using some 60 grit. You may find that some hard to reach spaces, it will be easier to sand down with a multi-tool and a sanding portion on there, so be sure to have that on hand as well. And from here, guys, you are just going to paint the cabinet doors and the drawers with that first or second coat of primer and get ready for paint. If you guys are still watching right now, that means you have made it to the end, and I thank you guys so much for coming along with me. If you know somebody that is considering repainting their cabinets in the near future, please go ahead and share this content with them. I already dropped the card for the other video, and I'm going to drop that down in my description below so you can go directly to the previous video so that you can have all of the information that you need so you can be confident to say, I did that. Okay, I want you guys to paint those cabinets. Don't consider throwing them away. It's not going to change the integrity and structure of the cabinets, but it is going to give it such a beautiful makeover, and your friends and your family and your guests are going to be like, oh my gosh, I love this, right? Again, thank you guys so much for watching until the end. I'm going to see you guys in my next video. Peace.